Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the history of Nigeria's leadership. We'll explore the past prime ministers, presidents, and heads of state, how they came to power, and how they left. And trust me, in Nigeria, how they left is rarely boring. Coups, assassinations, sudden illnesses, we've seen it all. So buckle up, get your history hats on, and let's journey through the fascinating, complex, and sometimes downright unbelievable story of Nigeria's leaders. Our story begins in 1960. Picture this: Nigeria, a nation brimming with hope and promise, finally free from British rule. The air crackles with the energy of a new dawn, and leading the charge is our very first Prime Minister, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. Balewa, a man who advocated for unity and progress, carried the weight of a nation on his shoulders. He navigated the choppy waters of post-colonial politics, trying to unite a diverse nation with over 250 ethnic groups. But Balewa was committed to making it work. He believed in Nigeria's potential, in its people, in its future. He led with a steady hand, guiding the nation through its early years of independence. In 1966, tragedy struck. A military coup plunged the nation into chaos, and Balewa became one of its first victims. Came to power, the 1st of October 1960, independence from the United Kingdom. Left power, the 15th of January 1966, overthrown and killed during a military coup. Successor, Major General Johnson Aguiyi Ironsi. The coup that claimed Balewa's life thrust Major General Johnson Aguiyi Ironsi into the spotlight. Aguiyi Ironsi, the army chief at the time, found himself at the helm of a nation reeling from the shock of its first military takeover. He inherited a nation on edge, grappling with the aftermath of the coup and facing growing ethnic tensions. Aguiyi Ironsi, a man known for his military prowess, attempted to restore order and unify the fractured nation. He implemented policies aimed at centralizing power, hoping to quell the rising tide of regionalism. Tragically, Aguiyi Ironsi's time in power was cut short. Another coup, led by a faction of the military opposed to his policies, ended his rule after just 6 months. His brief reign served as a stark reminder of the challenges of uniting a nation as diverse and complex as Nigeria. Major General Johnson Aguiyi Ironsi position, head of state, came to power, the 16th of January, 1966, military coup. Left power, the 29th of July, 1966, assassinated during a counter-coup. Successor, General Yakubu Gowon. And so the stage was set for General Yakubu Gowon. A young leader thrust into the maelstrom of Nigerian politics, Gowon faced a nation teetering on the brink. The assassination of Aguiyi Ironsi had exacerbated ethnic tensions, pushing the country closer to the precipice of civil war. Gowon, thrust into this volatile situation, found himself leading a nation at war with itself. The Nigerian Civil War, a bloody conflict rooted in ethnic and political divisions, became the defining challenge of his rule. For 3 grueling years, from 1967 to 1970, Nigeria was embroiled in a conflict that claimed the lives of millions. Gowon, determined to preserve the unity of the nation, led the fight against the secessionist Biafran state. In 1975, after 9 years in power, he was overthrown in a bloodless coup while attending an Organization of African Unity summit. Gowon's rule highlighted the complexities of leadership in a nation grappling with deep-seated divisions. General Yakubu Gowon position, head of state, came to power, the 1st of August 1966, military coup. Left power, the 29th of July 1975, overthrown in a military coup. Successor, General Murtala Muhammad. Chapter 4. Murtala Muhammad, a spark of hope, extinguished. The year is 1975. Enter Murtala Muhammad, a general with a reputation for discipline and a vision for a new Nigeria. He came to power promising to root out corruption and restore public faith in the government. Muhammad's energy was infectious. He tackled corruption head-on, dismissing corrupt officials and implementing reforms to make the government more accountable. People started to believe that maybe, just maybe, things were going to change. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Just 6 months into his rule, tragedy struck again. Murtala Muhammad was assassinated in a violent coup attempt. The nation mourned. The hope that Muhammad had ignited extinguished too soon. His assassination was a stark reminder of the fragility of progress and the ever-present threat of instability that loomed over Nigeria. General Murtala Muhammad position, head of state, came to power, the 29th of July, 1975, military coup. left power, the 13th of February 1976, assassinated during an attempted coup. Successor, General Olusegun Obasanjo. Chapter 5. Olusegun Obasanjo, from general to statesman. The assassination of Murtala Muhammad left a void in Nigerian leadership, a void filled by his second-in-command, General Olusegun Obasanjo. Obasanjo, in a surprising move, pledged to return Nigeria to civilian rule. He kept his word. In 1979, after drafting a new constitution and overseeing democratic elections, Obasanjo handed over power to a democratically elected president. This act alone set him apart in Nigeria's story. He could have held on to power, but instead, he chose the path less traveled, the path of democracy. It was a pivotal moment, a beacon of hope in a nation yearning for stability. Obasanjo's decision to relinquish power cemented his legacy as a statesman, not just a soldier. He showed the world that Nigeria was capable of transitioning from military rule to a democratic system. General Olusegun Obasanjo. Position: Head of State came to power, the 13th of February 1976, following assassination of Murtala Muhammad. Left power, the 1st of October 1979, handed over power to civilian government. Successor, Shehu Shagari. Chapter 6. Shehu Shagari, the Second Republic. The year 1979 marked a new chapter for Nigeria, the dawn of the Second Republic. Shehu Shagari, a former teacher with a gentle demeanor, emerged from the shadows of military rule to become Nigeria's first democratically elected president. Shagari inherited a nation eager for progress. He focused on developing infrastructure, boosting agriculture, and improving education. His government launched ambitious projects, aiming to position Nigeria as a leader in Africa. But the Second Republic struggled to gain its footing. Corruption reared its ugly head again, and the economy, battered by falling oil prices, took a nosedive. In 1983, just 4 years after it began, the Second Republic came to an abrupt end. A military coup led by Major General Muhammadu Buhari ousted Shagari from power. Shehu Shagari position: President came to power, the 1st of October 1979, democratic election. Left power, the 31st of December 1983, overthrown in a military coup. Successor, Major General Muhammadu Buhari. Chapter 7. Muhammadu Buhari, the General's Return. The return of Muhammadu Buhari in 1983 marked a dramatic shift in Nigerian politics. Buhari, known for his no-nonsense approach and his staunch stance against corruption, wasted no time in making his presence felt. His war against indiscipline became a defining feature of his rule. Queues were formed, order was imposed, and corrupt officials were looking over their shoulders. Buhari's government implemented austerity measures to combat the economic downturn, but these measures, while necessary, led to hardship for many Nigerians. His methods, though effective in curbing indiscipline, were often criticized for being heavy-handed. Some praised Buhari's tough stance, while others saw him as an authoritarian figure. However, Buhari's second stint in power was not destined to last long. In 1985, after just 20 months in office, he was overthrown in a palace coup led by his Chief of Army Staff, General Ibrahim Babangida. Major General Muhammadu Buhari position, Head of State came to power, the 31st of December 1983, military coup. Left power, the 27th of August 1985, overthrown in a military coup. Successor, General Ibrahim Babangida. Chapter 8. Ibrahim Babangida, the Promise of Transition. General Ibrahim Babangida, the man who orchestrated Buhari's downfall, was a study in contrasts. Charismatic and cunning, he was often referred to as Maradona for his political dribbling skills. He came to power promising a new era of prosperity and a transition back to civilian rule. He introduced economic reforms and initiated a long and winding transition program. Babangida's regime was a roller coaster ride of economic policies, political maneuvering, and a never-ending promise of democracy. He kept pushing back the date for a return to civilian rule, leaving Nigerians wondering if they'd ever see the day. But just when it seemed like the transition to democracy was within reach, Babangida did the unthinkable. He annulled the 1993 presidential elections, widely considered to be the freest and fairest in Nigeria's history. Babangida, facing mounting pressure, was forced to step aside, but not before installing an interim government headed by Chief Ernest Shonekan. General Ibrahim Babangida, position, Head of State came to power, the 27th of August 1985, military coup left power, the 26th of August 1993, resigned under pressure, successor, Ernest Shonekan. Chapter 9, Ernest Shonekan, a brief interlude. Chief Ernest Shonekan's time as head of state was like a brief intermission in a long, dramatic play. He was a businessman thrust into the world of Nigerian politics, tasked with leading an interim government during a turbulent period. Shonekan, a respected industrialist, was seen as a safe pair of hands, someone who could steer the ship while the country prepared for a return to democracy. But his tenure was destined to be short-lived. The annulment of the 1993 elections had left a bitter taste in the mouths of many Nigerians. They craved stability. They yearned for a leader who could unite the nation. Shonekan, despite his best efforts, was unable to quell the growing unrest. After just 3 months in office, Shonekan was ousted in a palace coup led by his Minister of Defense, General Sani Abacha. The brief interlude was over, and Nigeria was once again under military rule. Ernest Shonekan position, interim president, came to power, the 26th of August 1993, appointed following Babangida's resignation, left power, the 17th of November 1993, overthrown in a military coup, successor, General Sani Abacha. Chapter 10. Sani Abacha, a tightening grip. General Sani Abacha's emergence marked the beginning of a dark chapter in Nigeria's history. His regime, characterized by repression and human rights abuses, cast a long shadow over the nation. Abacha consolidated his power, silencing dissent and cracking down on opposition figures. He muzzled the press, jailed activists, and created an atmosphere of fear and intimidation. His regime became synonymous with corruption and brutality. The international community condemned his actions, imposing sanctions and isolating Nigeria on the world stage. However, in a dramatic turn of events, Abacha died suddenly in 1998 under mysterious circumstances. His death, shrouded in speculation and conspiracy theories, marked the end of an oppressive era. Abacha's death paved the way for a new transition to civilian rule.